Welcome everyone, it is Andrew here from AppleInsider, and we have reached that point in this quarantine where we're wearing hats because our hair is becoming a bit too much to handle. So today we are talking about the brand new 13-inch MacBook Pro and comparing it against the 2020 MacBook Air. So two brand new machines, but which one should you go with? The Air or the Pro? Which way do you go? We're gonna break everything down for you in this video, so let's go ahead and get right to it. So the new MacBook Pros, there are a couple distinctions here to make. The 13-inch MacBook Pro is kind of broken up into two categories. There is the lower end models that come with two Thunderbolt 3 ports, as well as the previous 8th gen Intel chips. Then we have the upper end of the MacBook Pros, the 13-inch MacBook Pros, that come with the 10th gen Intel chips, as well as 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, support for 6K display, slightly better graphics, stuff like that. So you have two kind of realms of the MacBook Pros. They've all been updated for this year, but really the base models of the 13-inch MacBook Pro are not all that different at all. So it gets a very wishy-washy when you're comparing the new MacBook Airs to the new MacBook Pros, because there's a huge gamut between the two. The new Airs actually have two models. You can go with the i3s all the way up to a quad-core i7, and then you have the MacBook Pros that are starting off with a quad-core, but they can go all the way up to the new 10th gen chips. So there's a whole realm of different options to consider. Fortunately, we've run the benchmarks, and we can at least point you in somewhat the right direction depending on what your workflow happens to look like. So the MacBook Airs, they start at $999. They start at a cool grand, and then you have the MacBook Pros, those start at $1,300, $1,299. When you start to try to look at performance, they get similar when you update the MacBook Air to that 1.2 gigahertz quad-core i7 processor. That compares favorably with the entry-level here, MacBook Pro 13-inch. So if we had a slightly brighter screen for anyone to see anything, we'll throw some graphics up on the screen, make it look prettier. But we got a 948 and a 4015 for our multi-core and single-core test for this updated MacBook Pro. That is actually not that far off from what we saw for the MacBook Air. The 1.1 gigahertz i3 dual-core MacBook Air earned a 1074 and a 2412. So it is winning out when it comes to the single core, but those are 10th gen chips inside of the MacBook Air versus this entry-level MacBook Pro that still has the 8th gen chips. So the single core is like mildly higher on the MacBook Air, but of course it fails in the multi-core because there are 4 cores compared to 2 on the Pros. When you upgrade your MacBook Air to that 1.2 gigahertz quad-core i7 processor, they look closer. You're getting a 1294, so much better single core score, and you're getting a 3514. So in almost the same multi-core score, so it's almost there to where the Pros are. But at that point, your MacBook Air is at the 1450 range instead of that 999 range. And at the MacBook Pros, this guy starts at 1299. It's actually cheaper, and you're still getting better performance. So kind of the main point here to get is that if you're going for performance, obviously the MacBook Pro is better, even if that small price range difference. Like you can't spec out a MacBook Air to outpace this guy without spending more money than you need to. Of course, the MacBook Air is not without its own pros. It is actually far more portable. It weighs a lot less, is smaller, more compact, much easier to travel with you. And the reality is, while it's nice to have more performance, the MacBook Air is no slouch. Those new chips are incredible. It has much better improvements of speed and performance than the previous generation. So for a lot of people, go with the MacBook Air. It starts at a lower price point. You can add a little bit more performance to it if you want, but it's still going to be a smaller, more portable machine than the MacBook Pro. So you don't need, better rendering times or the 4 USB-C ports on the higher-end MacBook Pros, then just stick with the MacBook Air. I think the MacBook Air is really the machine for most people. The MacBook Pro, the base models, unless you specifically need a little bit more performance there, just as odd amount of performance to gain, I think the better MacBook Pros are the higher-end units. Those are a great option for portable professionals who need, to edit 4K video or other more powerful stuff on their machines, doing it on the go, and they don't want to lug around a 16-inch MacBook Pro. Those upper-end MacBook Pros are going to be a great option. But if you're just debating between any of the MacBook Airs and any of the entry-level MacBook Pros, unless you really need that performance, go with the Airs. Now, if you want to grab any of these guys, you can find the best prices at the links down below in the description. Apple Insider price guides are updated daily with all the best deals around. And I want to know which one you guys picked up. Let me know over on Twitter at Andrew_OSU. Let me know which one of the two you bought and why.
Hey everyone, did you guys like that video? Be sure to click on that like button so we can create content that we know that you guys want to see. And follow Apple Insider on all social media channels. If you want the best prices on any Apple gear, check out the Apple Insider price guide that is updated daily. And until next time, we'll see you later.